All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of RetrogueVania Mania. This is a Retrogue with my guest Cory. With
Hello.
well, you're kind of the co-host, not really a guest. Um, well, whatever. You're a pseudo guest co-host today, but we got actual guests today, and they are the team that worked on the game Habroxia 2. You guys want to introduce yourself a bit?
Sure, I'll start, I guess. I'm Barry Johnson. I'm the programmer type guy here. I do a lot of other stuff, but that's my main focus. And I'm here with Wayne. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Wayne Kubiak. I do all sorts of art, but mostly here it was pixel art. And I did pretty much all the art for Habroxia too. And then we got Anthony over here.
Hey everybody, I'm Anthony, also known as Hang On Get Ready, and I did all the audio, so the music and the sound effects were from me.
All right, hang on, get ready, everybody. You're in for a podcast, I guess. I was gonna say show, but there's not really any moving parts on the screen, so yeah. All right, well, anyways, let's get into it a little bit more. I don't know. Let's start with some things about you guys. So Barry, we'll start with you because on the sheet that I'm looking off of, you're the first one.
Oh, yes.
So
I forgot about this. Right. Okay.
yeah. So let's tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. So I've been in for 4 years now. This is my fourth release. My favorite moment is the end of Wind Waker. I love that animation when you do the parry attack and just sink the sword. Oh, spoilers, I guess. Sink the Master Sword into Ganon's skull, and then just the ending scene that follows. That's my favorite moment. Let's see. And a fun fact is that I used to be a big trophy hunter. I was second in Canada for, I think, 2 years. And I think that's something I have in common with the host. But I left that behind me to focus on making games.
Yeah, I was. I mean, as some of you know, I was pretty obsessed with trophies for like 9-10 years. Cory, you still do the trophy thing, don't you?
Yeah, just casually.
And
yeah, that's where I'm at these days.
what was your profile name, by the way? Who might know
It's Breath of Water, inspired by the Breath of Fire RPG series.
Oh, that's where that name came from. Oh, I love that. I love those games.
Right on.
Was my favorite. There's a little frog dude. I don't know why I remember the frog dude, but
How could you forget him?
I remember the frog dude. That's like the part. I'm not even a big frog fan, but oh, and the place that you're from, not actual Goo Elf. It's Guelph, apparently.
Yeah, it's Guelph. I just didn't spell that very well for the pronunciation.
We were talking in the Discord, pronounce that, and Goo Elf came up as one of the ways of attempting to state it non-verbally. So
yeah, I didn't think of the W. Wayne had me on that.
I guess Goo Elf is kind of close.
You can see where I was going.
Yeah.
You guys hit like the Micro Machines man.
Yeah.
yeah, next game that you create, you're gonna have to put a Goo Elf in there. You have to.
Nice enemy class.
Yeah.
Is that like the evolution of a slime girl? Next you have Goo Elves.
Slime girls and goo elves, I like it.
Do a palette swap.
Yeah, we got a whole gaming concept coming already. All right. What about you? Oh, I did. You did say you like playing with your dog Lily. So that's, I guess, where Lillymo came from.
Oh yeah, I missed the hobbies and whatnot.
What's the Mo section?
So that's kind of a long story, but all of my friends in high school would call me Johnson, which is my last name. and I had a car which was called the Johnson Mobile, and then eventually I became Johnson Mo. So when Lily came around, she just became Lillymo as a nickname.
Oh, so it's like a car dog car.
It's-
I'm never gonna like not think of that now after I see Lillymo. I mean, I know the symbol has a dog on it, so that makes complete sense. And then the Mo is all right.
it's just her nickname, an affectionate nickname.
I kind of want to draw Lillymo and put wheels on her now.
All right. Very literal crowd over here.
That's what the goo elf can ride.
Yeah, it's the faithful steed of the Goo Elf. All right. We'll mix things up on this sheet. Anthony, you're next.
Alrighty. So I'm Anthony. Hang on, get ready. In Buffalo, working on games now for about 8 years. Got about 7 games that I've worked on, if I got my list correct, including games that have yet to come out. So that's pretty much a bigger number than I expected to find when I actually started to list things. The latest title I worked on was obviously Habroxia 2 because it just came out. Not sure when this goes live, but on February 3rd. Hobbies, I guess I like listening to and playing music a lot between doing chiptune stuff and messing with analog synths, playing disc golf, Magic the Gathering, video games, obviously. And I guess my favorite gaming moment would be a tie between beating Dracula in Castlevania without getting hit at Wayne's bachelor party and the absolute freedom and feeling found in playing Flower on PlayStation consoles. That game was something like I'd never experienced before.
Right on.
So is that was that your most memorable part about your bachelor party too? This drag down without getting hit, without Anthony getting hit.
It was definitely a kind of a blur, but Anthony, do you want to elaborate a little bit about the whole story about that?
So I'm pretty good at Castlevania 1 on Nintendo. It's just something I've played since I was a kid, and it's probably my favorite game of all time. And I've spent a lot of years getting good at it and trying to learn how to do a no death run, which I haven't finished yet, but I will someday. And our one friend Bobo was trying to beat the game, I guess, forever. And he finally got all the way to Dracula. And I was kind of like coaching him through it, giving him like hints, but like not really telling him what to do, but kind of pushing him in the right direction. He finally got to Dracula, and he just couldn't do it. He must have been playing Dracula for 45 minutes to an hour. He was frustrated. He was upset. He gave me the controller. And he's like, "Yeah, man, just do it." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever." So I was kind of just like talking to him while I was doing it, and I feel like I was half paying attention. It was a lot of muscle memory, and there was some luck involved. And I just happened to go through without getting hit. And as I was, people were starting to surround the TV, and they kept telling me not to do him like that, but I couldn't really pass up an opportunity to finish Dracula without getting hit.
You awesome. Totally like ruined him.
Yeah, just like show him up.
He was never seen again.
I was really proud.
And
so that was fun.
I was also a big into Magic the Gathering for many years. It was basically what I did before I started trophy hunting. That was my life. I don't know how hardcore you were or are, but
I've been kind of playing Sim
for a while. Sorry, but it was short lived because COVID hit. So I was starting to ramp into it and going around and playing some games here or there, both locally and at some of the bigger events in like Syracuse and stuff. But you can't really do that these days. And I also used to play a lot of Commander with Wayne and a crew, but then Wayne moved away, so no more Commander with Wayne.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe next time I'm back in town, we'll get the group together and play.
I should hope so.
I've been kind of playing on and off since Revised. Somewhere around there.
That was way before me.
I was Ice Age for sure.
I was like
I was a wee win.
Legions and Onslaught was when I first learned about the thing. All right, and also, did you ever do any damage or harm to anything living with throwing axes? I just gotta know.
Oh God.
Nothing that wasn't supposed to be damaged by it. So to elaborate on that, I was part of an axe throwing league before COVID started, and we were in the middle of my second season when everything kind of shut down. And I'm okay at it. I'm pretty decent. Higher middle tier of the group, but they've all been doing it for a long time, so it was really fun. But I've never damaged anything or anyone that wasn't supposed to have been damaged, thankfully.
Sounds good. I'm glad. I'm relieved. All right, Wayne, your turn.
What did I do now? I mean, yeah, I made stuff for, I don't know, right about as long as Anthony has, like 8-ish years or so. I've released about 10 games. I've worked on a ton of other stuff that either hasn't been released or is in a work in progress and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much the latest thing I've released is Habroxia 2, but in the past couple of years, I just released Super Bernie World, Freedom Finger, obviously Habroxia 2, first Habroxia, and Anthony and I have been working on a game called Junk Puncher, and I don't know, lots of games. I just can't stop making games. It's a problem. I need to go outside.
Well, if you're having fun with it, then hopefully
It's true.
you are.
I love it. Like it's one of those things. I was a graphic designer for a really long time, and this kind of fell into my lap. And this is pretty much all I've wanted to do. So here I am.
Sounds good. What about some hobbies, interests?
I dabble in a couple of things. Mostly, I really like digging into like games history and stuff like that. Obviously, being so much into like pixel art and all that kind of thing. I like to play the weirdest, oldest, and obscurest stuff for no particular reason. It just kind of fuels me and adds to my, I don't know, creative energy, I guess. And then, I don't know, beyond that, I actually like going outside as much as I profess that I don't go outside too much. Well, these days, but
Well, you can go outside. Just actually, all the places that we can't go are inside places.
It's true.
Although it is very cold outside, so I don't know how much you actually want to be outside at this point.
It's not too bad here. I live in Northern Virginia, and I used to live up in Buffalo, so the weather difference is quite a huge difference. So everything feels super warm here, so I can go outside in a hoodie and be totally fine with that. And we've only gotten like a little bit of snow.
Well, compared to Buffalo,
Yeah.
But yeah. However, going back to Buffalo, you're gonna be freezing. I used to come from Ohio, and I moved south, and I'd be fine going outside with shorts in 28-degree weather. Now I need a jacket if it's like 65. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I hear after like a bunch of years, your blood kind of thins out a little bit, and it kind of changes how you react to different temperatures and whatnot.
Yeah, that is what I've heard, and I have definitely experienced it. So, what about you, gaming moment wise?
It's so hard to pin down like gaming moments for me, just because like pretty much a huge reason why I play games is those individual moments and like the little things that you experience with yourself or your friends, or like whether it's like beating a boss or like just doing something really goofy with a bunch of friends, or I don't know what. Every little thing creates that like particular memory, so it's hard to like just lock down one particular thing.
Yeah, that's actually the problem with a lot of the what is your favorite question. I always struggle with those anyway. And then you say you had a weird path into games from graphic design and metal bands into a jaunt of game journalism. Any strange stories of like aha moments or anything like that? Or?
The kind of the long of the short. I spent a lot of my life kind of just dorking around in various metal bands and playing shows out of town and stuff like that, and meeting different people. And it kind of accidentally led me to making games. Anthony replaced me in one of the bands that I was in, and that's more or less how we met before doing all the game stuff and whatnot.
And it wasn't like a hostile takeover. I think Wayne was out of the band for approximately a year before I joined.
Okay, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Was this some situation where all the other band members were like, this dude's better than him? I'm gonna go with that
I will
guy.
definitively say Wayne is better than I am at that.
Okay.
For sure, he's a way better vocalist than I ever was.
You guys are still friends, it sounds like, at least. I hope you are. So,
Unfortunately, no.
Sometimes I wonder.
so I guess no bad feelings over that band swap there.
No. I was going through some stuff in my life, and like I couldn't do the band thing, and it's kind of funny because everything kind of imploded on me, and that led me to essentially writing about games with Anthony, and then just making games now. Like without that, it wouldn't have ever happened. So, no regrets.
All right, sounds good.
No regrets.
No regrets.
All right, so let's I don't know, I guess we could talk about Habroxia 2 a little bit, because that just came out, and well, that's part of the reason we're interviewing you guys. So
All right, we made a video game.
yeah,
A very good one.
an
Oh my
awesome one. I liked
I
it.
appreciate that.
So this might be, I don't know, a little bit more for Barry. But how hard was it to switch gears from creating and making Twin Breaker to switching to Habroxia 2?
Not hard at all, really. I mean, I'm always thinking about different games, and I was thinking about Habroxia 2 while I was making Twin Breaker, or what at the time was like a patch or a DX version. That's how we were thinking about it at first. But yeah, I love to play all kinds of different games, and it's not really I don't really have to switch gears or anything when I start working on a different type of game. It's kind of the same skill to me, I guess I'd say.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it seemed like in Habroxia 2, you kind of mashed up a few concepts, like shmups, but plus twin stick shooting, plus I almost want to call it like a rhythm thing for the special weapons.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping people would pick up on.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that concept. So, just having unique concepts in the games. Are you playing like while you're playing some other game? You're like, oh, we should just put this concept in there, and then just mash them up a bit.
Yeah, it's less of finding something and mashing it up, and more like seeing an idea I like and figuring out why I like it, and trying to pursue that reasoning in a different manner that works within our game. So I try not to, for that rhythm thing we're talking about, that was kind of inspired by the Gears of War active reload. But it is different, like it's a different system. It's just the same kind of thinking with the reward for the timing based reload, where if you hit it right on the flash, you get the strongest shot.
Yeah, and then you also have I don't want to call it, maybe strategy is not the word, but I did find some of the special weapons were much more beneficial to like keep to the beat with, and the other ones were better to kind of just save and stock up on.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see, what else? Cory, are you still there?
Yeah. While we're on the concept of the active reload with the special weapon, I love the sound design that you guys put in there with that. I found it very fun to play with headphones on, and you just listen for that little ding, and then you know that your special's ready. And I don't know, that was just, it was very different from anything that I've ever played before. and it was so fun to just wait for that 1, 2, 3, fire, 1, 2, 3, fire, or whatever the cadence was. It was just very brilliantly done.
Oh, thank you. That's up to Anthony as well, of course. He was doing all the sound effects for us. He actually sold me on that over time because I had a temp effect that I was using, and I was so used to it, hearing it in my brain, that when he gave me the new one, I was just like, no, this is wrong. This isn't what it's supposed to. But then I played with it, and I was like, oh wait, this is better. This is the one. It's just I had been so used to hearing those sounds that my brain was like, no, this isn't the sound.
You're so used to hearing sounds, you're just hearing them in your sleep.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I have dreams about the games we're working on all the time.
So I want to bring up one more interesting thing about the special weapon effect and the sound that goes with it. I played with headphones, and then I had a few minutes before lunch, so I took the headphones off and I tried to play. I was terrible. Like, there really is a rhythm element to that, and I love how creative that is.
Yeah,
Right on. Thanks.
I actually didn't notice it initially, so kind of the opposite of Cory. The first time I loaded up the game, I didn't have the sound on because I had people working in my house, so I didn't really want them to hear me playing on my Switch. But yeah, it made a big difference. It was very satisfying. I liked it. Good choice, guys. Good choice.
One little detail I haven't seen a lot of people notice about the active reloading system is Wayne and Barry did a really good job also putting the lights on the ship. So when it lights up on top of the screen, it's also lighting up on the actual ship itself.
How did I not notice this?
It's very small.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a subtle detail, but I really love that that's in there.
It's one of those things that it's nice to have multiple avenues of like showing a mechanic as you're going through, like both like the audio and visual component, plus like with this whole like rhythm component, you kind of have like an internal clock with it too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how about how long did it take to develop Habroxia 2? How long was it in the works?
So it kind of started slower because I was working on Twin Breaker. Me and Wayne were talking, figuring out what it would be, and it kind of morphed. I'm thinking like 9 months to cook this baby. What are you thinking, Wayne?
Yeah, give or take. I think the biggest hunk of the work was done in the past like 6 months, maybe less, where we kind of like really ramped up.
And what when you were making Habroxia 1, like what was the I don't want to say reason for making Habroxia 2, but like what? Yeah, I guess why did you decide to make Habroxia 2? Why did you decide to make a sequel?
Yeah, so when I started making games, I didn't think I would make any sequels, at least not for a long time, because I love so many different types of games and have a lot of ideas I want to pursue. But when we finished up Habroxia 1, I was left feeling like I think a lot of game devs do when they finish a game, where I was like, I wish we had done this. I wish we had fixed this one thing or made this better. And I have more ideas I want to add on. So we're starting talking about a patch. We're just going to do a free patch and add some cool stuff on, and maybe people would check the game out again. But we just came up with more and more things, and then we were thinking maybe we'll do a DX release of it. And the more we talked about it, and the more I talked with my partner Colin, the creative director, and our partners at East Asia Soft, who handled the physical release and the porting of the game, we all just decided it would be way cooler to just change things up even more and do a full-blown sequel.
Yeah, I think you improved. I mean, not to say that Habroxia 1 was bad, but I think you guys did a good job in the improvement department in Habroxia 2. I was very happy when I started playing it. I mean, you got other things. You got branching levels, and you got yeah, just I don't know, thick thing that we were talking about. More, just a lot meatier. I guess I should say too.
I think if we ended up doing just like an update or a patch, we wouldn't have ended up with so many different ideas going forth to Habroxia 2. There was a lot of just kind of like a natural progression as we were coming up with ideas that really, I don't know, just pushed it to be something a little different.
I also don't know if I would be sitting here talking with you guys about it today either, because I don't know if you guys would have did a full new soundtrack.
Yeah, I guess not. That would have been a shame because the music is a huge improvement.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just doing a patch, there's a lot less revamping and just. I mean, usually patches are just more minor things that you tack into something.
Yeah, we just had some cool things we thought would be fun to add. It wouldn't have made much financial sense to really put a big budget on adding a ton of stuff. So I guess that's why it eventually turned into what it was or what it is.
You guys have any unforeseen issues when you were developing it?
There was some last minute Vita optimization that I was struggling with. I was really crunching with for a few weeks before our Vita deadline. We had to the whole timeline of the project was based around trying to be in time for the final Vita release on physical. So we were up against a hard wall there that we had to be through QA before the end of the year, and there was no slots in December. So we had to really rush to get it all ready for Vita, and that was the genesis of our timeline for releasing this project, was trying to be involved with that final run of Vita cartridges.
That makes sense.
I think anytime you're like against any sort of deadline, you always end up, cutting a few things or like things you wish that you had more time to do, that kind of thing. Like
there were a few things left behind there.
I definitely would have loved to add like even more environmental details and stuff like that in.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the case in almost every situation. Well, we could have done this, could have done that, but.
And sometimes you don't realize what you really wanted to add or that you missed out on until after the fact too.
Yeah, I do that all the time with many a things in my life. I always look back and I'm always like, could have done this, but.
On the good end of that, though, like it gives you prospect for the future, ideas and things you can kind of use moving forward.
Yeah, stuff for Habroxia 3, right?
For sure.
You guys planning sequels for like Twin Breaker or Perils of Baking? Or
Perils of Baking, probably not. It's been discussed. Twin Breaker is something we talk about, but we're not actively working on. We will probably do a Twin Breaker 2 within the next few years. It would be fun to go back to that.
Please don't put in 8 paddles this time.
You have to use 2 controllers at once.
Dance pad.
Now hold on.
Oh, that's what you should do. Do it with a dance pad.
You could do
man,
co-op.
Such
How about a steering wheel?
All your games going forward can have a rhythm component.
Yeah. I mean,
you could do 8 paddles co-op. That would be insane, but that would be really fun.
Don't give me ideas.
That hurts my brain.
Any funny stories are in development?
I don't know. I think we're all kind of funny guys. I don't know if anything really funny occurred. Mostly just working hard and being serious about the game and joking around about ideas. All
right. Yeah, I guess you guys are just so funny that everything's funny. So
yeah, exactly.
In comparison,
we're just jovial chaps. What can we say?
Yes.
I think that's one of the things you miss out on digitally working together is a lot of those like inter-office antics. As much as I love, I like working digitally with people actually as much as I like working in person. But there are definitely some caveats to how natural certain things occur in person versus online.
Yeah.
Or even just like ways that you can interact as far as like development, even outside of, you know, the regular antics and goofiness. Just being able to like walk over it and be like, "Hey, look at this," or like, "This is stupid. Look at this. Laugh at this."
It's also a lot harder to do practical jokes on people.
It's true.
Nearly impossible.
Cory, you got any other Habroxia 2 specific questions?
I got a couple questions for Wayne, mostly because I was so in love with the pixel art. Where did you draw some of your inspirations for not only Sabrina, but some of the enemy designs and even, you know, environmental effects that you were talking about earlier with the levels?
Pretty much everything I do comes from all over the place. Talking a little bit more about the enemy design and some of the world design and stuff like that. Going back to me digging into like game history and things like that. I just dig into a lot of old shoot 'em ups. Everything from your staples like your Gradius and all that kind of stuff to like weird stuff like Hot B made this game called Over Horizon for the NES, which is just an absolute gem of a game. And it just has such like, I don't know, interesting world and creature designs and stuff like that. And just like, I don't know, all that sort of stuff really fuels me.
I will say the amount of obscure soundtracks and shmup videos Wayne sends on a daily basis it's unbelievable. I don't know where he finds the stuff.
Usually I find like a couple weird YouTube channels that just have soundtracks for old games. And anytime a soundtrack strikes my interest while I'm like sitting here working, I'll just look it up real quick and see like if there's like a long play or something of it. And sometimes I just find cool stuff that way.
Going down the rabbit hole of basic music.
There's just so many rabbit holes, and it's dangerous for the time that I spend not working. But moving over to the Sabrina front, Barry and Colin kind of gave me a primer for what her attitude was and what kind of a person she was, and then we kind of went back and forth. Barry, I think you sent me like a couple like Ghibli inspirations.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. I don't remember exactly what we said though.
It just kind of like it gave me like a jumping off point from there. And I like a lot of
right. I mentioned Nausicaa. I mentioned Nausicaa at one point is the attitude. I think I said a foul-mouthed, rebellious Nausicaa or something like that.
yeah, that sounds about right. That kind of like gave me a jumping off point, and then I started looking at like old 80s space anime like Robotrek and stuff like that. And the first designs I came up with, like it felt a little too basic. And then I did a few designs, and I was talking to one of my friends, Uni, and she gave me back a couple ideas and sketched over what I was doing. And then I sketched over that a bunch of times, and then we ended up kind of where we were.
All right, sounds good.
Well, the final product is great.
Thanks. And like environmental stuff, it comes from everywhere. Talking a little bit more from before, where I like going outside and hiking and taking walks and stuff. Right before we hit like the meat of development, I moved into like a new location in this area, and everything's kind of like woody around here, and I can actually just walk outside my house and go for a walk in the woods in like 10 minutes, half an hour, and that's what I was kind of using for breaks. And that kind of like inspired the more, I don't know, like organic environments rather than like Habroxia 1 was mostly space and like weird mechanical space station stuff. Where this, I kind of wanted to push like, I don't know, like you were going through planets and asteroid fields and things like that. I kind of hope if we do like a Habroxia 3, like go all in and do different environments for different areas and stuff like that. Have like completely unique planets and feelings.
That would be cool. The underwater planet. The lava planet.
I feel torn on underwater planets.
Really? You don't have the spaceship like transform into a submarine?
I guess that could work. The first thing I thought of was like the spaceship going slow, and I was like, ugh.
Well,
Yeah, if we water world, that definitely pushed to make it feel exactly like the other worlds.
You could go like full In the Hunt. In the Hunt is a submarine-based shoot 'em up made by the people that made Metal Slug. Sorry.
I'll have to look that up later.
It is very much worth looking up because...
I love that you just thought we'd all know exactly the game. Oh, sorry, my dog's coughing there.
Yeah, was I the only one that was like, what? What are you talking about?
There was silence, and I was like, I need to primer this. Sorry, this is how my brain works.
Rabbit holes.
All right, everyone listening, you got homework. Look up this game.
Yeah, In the Hunt is wonderful. And it's such a gorgeous game, and you can see where they went to go make Metal Slug after that, so...
Well, I love the look of the Metal Slug game, so it sounds like something worth checking out.
Oh, very much so. I think there's a port on the PlayStation, too, as weird as that is.
I did
PS1.
play the Metal Slug 3 port, and they do have a submarine level. So as soon as you mentioned underwater, that's actually where my mind drifted to.
Well, surprise! They stole from themselves.
All right, you got anything else for Habroxia 2 related, Cory?
I do. And Barry, I gotta say, I really love the control and the movement speed of the ship. It feels very responsive. I played on PlayStation 5, and just the way that the DualSense and a game, paired very well together. I really like the feel of that. I'm kind of a stickler because I do play shmups, and I feel like sometimes the movement speed is either too fast or too slow. This one felt just right. It was so well done.
That's great to hear, man.
Yeah, I thought
And I
were very smooth, very definitely had a good feel to it.
now is there any like play testing for like when you just dial it in and okay, this is how it should feel, or this is what my brain felt like it should be the right movement speed? Because like I said, there's some games where you just move so slow.
Yeah, it's just basically playtesting, like you said. I do a lot of when I'm implementing ideas, I basically just like hit run immediately and see how it feels and if it does what I thought it was gonna do in the code on screen. And I like to I play a lot of games, and I feel like I have a pretty good judgment of how things should feel. So I like to spend a lot of time just locking that down. And of course, you got the boys play testing for me here as well. They did a lot of play testing and gave a lot of feedback to change pretty much all aspects of the game.
Yeah, I think as you go on, like play testing, even with the people that you're working with, makes a huge difference because it always spawns new ideas and different things that you can do and ways you can fix things that you never realized before. I think that's one of the nicest things, like separation from working like solo just by yourself and having other people like bouncing stuff off back and forth.
Yeah, definitely in my experience.
Yeah, they good collaboration, good teamwork. Anything? I guess I kind of thought of this while Cory's question was getting answered. Anything you, I don't know, regret not doing differently in Habroxia 2?
Sure. A lot of it's mainly just time, that we didn't have enough time to execute fully on things. I could call out a lot of them. There was one boss that we ended up scrapping. There was a side mode, a variation of the invasion mode from the first game that I wanted to execute on. Just general balancing would have been nice to get more right. But all in all, this is our best game that we've put out so far. So I'm super proud with not only what we pulled off, but what we did in the time that we had.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say like, oh sorry,
no, go on.
I was just gonna say I'm kind of blown away how much we managed to squeeze into our short timeline, as far as just like progress from the first game. Even it's just like it feels like we just crushed it out in this like I don't know very squished time.
Yeah, I mean, less than a year, and you said you only ramped up in what, 6 months? That's not that big of a window. But I guess my question was going to be, what was this boss that you scrapped?
It was a tribute boss to our friends on the Shoot Shimi team.
Was it,
Two of which you may be talking to right now.
Hi.
True.
So Anthony and I have another company, LillyoGames, with one of our buddies, Garrett,
And our friend Dave.
oh yes. I always get caught up because Dave mainly handles our finances and all the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, Dave's the money guy.
But essentially, the first retail game we made, well, technically the only retail game we finished, is a game called Shuchimi, and it's another shoot 'em up. Not that that's a really big surprise here.
Underwater, though.
It is underwater. less submarines, unfortunately. I don't know.
Just-
you
Just to say, if you hear any heavy breathing, that's not me. My dog is snoring on my lap.
Oh, Lillymo.
I'm not
wait,
breathing heavily.
snoring? That means that they find this boring? That.
Oh, she's a sleepy girl. She's always taking naps on the lap.
Narcoleptic dog?
Very chill dog. Let's say that.
Okay. All right.
I think she'll be more engaged once it's translated to K9.
Oh. Yeah, Cory, you know how to do that, right?
Not yet. I'm still learning.
Okay. Maybe the K9 episode will be released next month.
Yeah, Duolingo might be good for that.
We need to research it a bit. All right, so I don't know, maybe some generic questions since, well, you guys are our first devs that we're interviewing, so
Woo.
like
Thanks for having us, man.
oh, thanks for coming on. What's the wisdom you'd give for someone aspiring to be a game developer? Or
Should I start? I guess I would just say start working as soon as you can and don't give up. I feel like that's the thing that held me back for so long. I didn't start actually making games at all until I was about 28, and I wanted to for my whole life, but I didn't know if I'd be able to or how to go about starting. But I feel like if I had just started writing down my ideas even or designing concepts and levels, it would have been a huge boon to me at this point. So if you really want to do it and you're sure that's what you want to do, I'd say just start going at it in any way you can and don't give up.
Barry, have you had a mentor along the way? Someone who introduced you to a certain design philosophy or a certain set of tools to use to build games?
No, it's I'm a very what's the word? I'm a solitary person. I learned it all on my own. I followed I guess I should say I followed some YouTube tutorials by a gentleman named Sean Spalding early on, who helped me with the first framework for Perils of Baking before I was really coding on my own. I followed his tutorials to get some moving parts going.
I guess to add on to Barry's just do it method, definitely that way, but also finish stuff. The hardest thing is to actually finish making a game. Like you can make and dabble and mess around with things all you want, but like as soon as you finish stuff, you made a game. Like that's what you did. And pretty much like if you think you're not good enough at making games, you're fine. You're already like way above everybody else that is not making a game at all.
You can't get better if you don't start.
Exactly.
Plus, to build on it a little bit, starting small, I think, is one of the biggest things I think people need to hear. It's you don't need to make whatever your favorite game is. You don't need to make that, your first time out. Like, make something digestible. Make something that is only one level. Make something that has one song. Like, you don't have to do a lot to actually finish something. It doesn't have to be commercially viable, but the more you finish, the more you'll build upon things.
Yeah, and then the more confidence you get and things like that, and get the small snowball growing into a giant I don't know, lower section of Frosty or something.
Frosty the Snowman torso action. That's what you're trying to build for.
Yeah.
I was thinking a little lower, but
What phase of development cycle is you guys' favorites?
The inception, creating the design ideas, creating the concepts, creating mock-ups, like that all like fuels me super hard. It gives me the most creative energy out of everything.
I think for me, it's not the final stretch, but right before then, when things are really starting to come together and it feels like a real game, and it's not fully polished yet, but you're still throwing new ideas in and seeing what happens. That's my favorite part.
I agree with both of those. I think Inception would be the thing, like with Wayne said, it really does fuel the creativity the most. The highest highs for me come after release, but that also could produce some of the lowest lows depending on how people view the game. So
with highs by release, how much sleep did you guys get after Habroxia 2 release?
I was up really late drinking that night. I don't remember how long I slept, but I certainly stayed up much later than I would have intended or thought. I'll say that.
I got woken up really early by my cat. She's wonderful, but she also at certain points of the morning she just wants attention, and I'll just wake up to her meowing in my face. And most of the time I just turn over and go back to sleep and she curls up, and that's good. But sometimes it's just like, oh, hi cat. Oh no, I'm awake. Crap. And that's how I live. Yeah.
So what sort of things do you draw your inspirations from? Is it mostly just video games, or is it, I mean, I know you mentioned being outside and things of that nature. Is there anything else that you draw inspiration from? Anything just off the wall interesting that you've at one time drawn inspiration from?
Visually, pretty much everything. There isn't anything that stops my brain from shutting off. Everything I look at and I see, I think about how the light reacts to different textures and how things are created in the world and how I perceive everything. It's just like, it doesn't shut off ever. And pretty much since doing graphic design, that's always how my brain has worked.
Yeah, I guess I'd say almost entirely video games for me, because I'm more of a programming, gameplay, and systems kind of guy. But definitely there are movies and shows that I see themes in that I like, that I want to explore ideas in. So one of our next projects that we're working on at Lillymo is inspired by Bubble Bobble, Donkey Kong Country, and Princess Mononoke. So that's kind of a three-way. Sorry?
No, I was just gonna say Donkey Kong Country plus Bubble Bobble. Oh man, you had me at that already.
Yeah, it's different themes and ideas. It's not like we're trying to replicate them. There's just things I like from each of those that we want to pull on. Like, For Bubble Bobble, it's actually more just the interactions that you have with enemies in that game, where like you don't just kill the enemy, you turn it into a bubble, and then you can pop the bubble. You can bounce on the bubble to like go to different sections of the level. Like you can traverse using it. So I wanted to play on that idea of not just executing enemies, but finding ways to interact with them in a different way that lets you traverse a level.
What was the third game that you said?
Princess Mononoke. That's a film. So that's what I was getting at with the.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think. I don't know what that game is. And then, okay, yeah, I've heard of that now. Now that you say it was a film.
For that, it's more about the shaman of the forest and the different animals and some of the stylistic choices that we're looking at for that.
Well, while we're on the subject of games coming out, I mean, maybe you don't want to talk about any or any more of anything, but any other things down the line that you want to or could mention
that we'd be working on?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Habroxia 3. We're not working on it yet. Colin's been writing an RPG, and we have an artist that's working on that, but my work has been, I just got a basic engine going for that so far. So that's mainly been those two working on that. That's a longer project that we're going to do. It's going to be a Super NES style JRPG.
Oh, that sounds so good. You had me at SNES style JRPG. No. Yeah, because those are usually, well, they could be quite lengthy, depending on how much you had.
Yeah, we're going to take our time with that project.
I guess on Anthony and I's end, we've also been working on a NES style like platformer brawler kind of thing.
Is that Junk Puncher or whatever?
Yeah, Junk Puncher. I think games like Ninja Gaiden, Shadow of the Ninja, Shatterhands, that sort of thing.
Late generation Nintendo style 2-button gameplay.
Where you punch junk unless the title is very deceiving.
No, you can punch the junk. I've seen it. I've seen a video.
Yeah, you can check both boxes on that for sure. There's definitely a little bit of a pun involved where all of the enemies are robots. So we like that aspect of it. And you can definitely punch like garbage cans and stuff. But also there is a punch that when you're ducking lands in some delicate areas.
Oh.
It's a crouching punch.
Yeah, it goes where it should.
Not saying that we like our pun names or anything, but we might.
we have a habit of that. That's probably, I don't know how to estimate exactly how far we are into development with that. We've been working on it for, calendar-wise, we've been working on it for about 2 years, but we're all working on it kind of part-time, just between other games and jobs and such. So it's not quite the focus, but it's slowly but surely coming together. I don't know, like maybe like 15% in development if I had to guess, but it's a good feeling 15%.
Yeah, we have a lot of like the engine and stuff done. The really like hard nitty gritty parts. It's just filling in a lot of the content at this point.
Yeah, we'll have to kick you guys over the demo so you can take a look at it.
I'd love to play. I've been on a binge of old school beat 'em up and brawler games lately with Streets of Rage, and Scott Pilgrim just got re-released for PlayStation 4. That one's fun. So I'm gonna keep an eye on Junk Puncher. That sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah, we'll shoot you guys over the demo.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And to kind of bridge the gap here, speaking of projects that are out in the future, if you guys, what would a podcast be without a hypothetical? So if someone of a well-known IP were to tell you or approach you tomorrow and say, hey, would you like to build a game for me? What kind of big intellectual property out there would you just love to be a part of, whether it's doing what you do now or just being loosely affiliated with it?
Oh, I could name like so many. I mean, Katamari is something I'd like to be involved with. Not that I have a skill set that really aligns with a 3D developed game, but imagining that in a 2D realm, maybe, or something like that, or just being involved in the team would be crazy for me. But what do you guys think?
Anthony, you want to go?
My answer always used to be Castlevania, and I had this grand idea for a way to expand Castlevania 3 into this larger experience. The not the game itself, but like the ideas in it. And then Bloodstained came out, and it kind of took the Curse of the Moon line, and it kind of took a lot of the ideas I had and ran with them. And I was like, oh, forget it. So now, if somebody gave me funding and carte blanche to do what I wanted, I would probably. I think I'd have to figure out how to hire the writer for Echo the Dolphin on the Genesis and make the third game in the series and finally conclude that storyline. I think if I were to pick today, that would be it.
Does it have to be a well-known franchise?
It can be well known to you.
That's fair. I guess if it was a more well-known franchise, I think I'd want to make a Contra game.
Right on.
Just like run and gun stuff is really fun for me, and I just feel like it's one of those, I don't know, genres that hasn't been really explored enough. Like it seems like so many games wanted to just like copy Contra rather than make something unique. Like even just looking in the 16-bit era, the stuff that like Treasure made is just like, it's so wild and unique, especially compared to every other running gun that's out there. And I feel like people haven't really gone in that direction.
Now I want to know what your less well-known pick would be.
You know what it is, Anthony, and it's Monster Party.
Yes.
What is Monster Party?
So Monster Party is, I think it's a Bandai Namco.
It was at the time.
Yeah.
I want to actually know who the actual full developer was for it. I'll look that up now.
It was someone that only made like a few games, if I remember correctly. But it's a NES game, and it was initially meant to be kind of like a parody game where you went through and you fought different like movie monsters and stuff like that. And I guess they probably had rights issues. So before it was ever released, it got changed into all these like weird and wacky monsters and like generic stuff. But it made this really quirky, unique story, and like it has such a strange way of playing in general. Your main character has a baseball bat, and you can reflect bullets and stuff. But the levels have like doors, and essentially each door has either a boss or something in it, which just creates these like weird boss rush kind of feeling to it. You know, it's such a unique game, and it has so much like quirky, cute, but evil kind of flavor. I don't know. It's something so interesting to me.
All right, another one to look up later.
Be careful. Don't. What was that?
Human Entertainment was the developer.
Oh, okay. if I recall, Human Entertainment makes some really weird stuff.
This is an interesting list here. Stuff like Clock Tower is in here, but then stuff like Super Soccer on Game Boy. So there's definitely a list of stuff here to like kind of parse through.
Yeah, be careful. The longer you podcast with me, the more rabbit holes you go down.
You can find some interesting stuff.
There's just so many. Oh, pardon me. There's so much cool stuff to search for, and I don't know. Everyone's always been making cool, unique games for, I don't know, since games exist, essentially.
All right, Cory, you got any other questions?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I don't know. I feel like I'm forgetting something key about ending an interview, but maybe not. Hopefully not. I'll think of something right when we get off here. As
It's all us back to record an addendum.
yeah. Oh, guys, can you come back? We need to record another 10-minute segment. I forgot to say good. Yeah, it was awesome having you guys on. Thanks for your time and thanks for making Habroxia 2. And keep up the awesome work. I was gonna say good work, but
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks for having us in general. Like, I don't know, it's always fun to just hang out and chat.
Yeah, that's all this feels like for me. It's just a fun hour that I've had of just chatting and laughing and learning things. I've learned a lot of unique things this podcast.
I'm sorry.
Some games to look up.
All right. So with that being said, unless Cory, you got anything else to add?
No, but I do want to thank you all again for joining us today. It was really great to hear your insight and just on games in general, but also to celebrate and talk about your new game, Habroxia 2. I had a tremendously wonderful time playing it. Thank you so much for all your hard work and creativity that went into that project. And I hope that other people continue to support it and play it. And if you're out there listening, go buy Habroxia 2. It's very good. Very,
Yeah,
very
it's
good.
not even that expensive either. So
yeah, $10 US.
Fistful of dollars.
yeah, so yeah, guys, be sure to check that game out. And I did have a somewhat sloppy, rough attempt at a review video for it. Hey, it was my first time editing a video, so like we were saying with game development, you just gotta start. So
Yeah, get a start.
Exactly.
I thought it was a pretty good stuff. I mean, it gave me some memorable lines. It was great.
Oh yeah, what did he call you about? What did he say about the hamburger? The well
well done hamburger.
Yeah,
I loved it.
oh,
very
yeah.
appreciative of that.
Well, glad you liked that and you weren't weirded out by it.
It was a very unique way to have had the work I did described. Probably the most unique, positive thing anybody's ever said.
Okay. You guys got links or social media things you want to mention?
I'll say for us, just follow Lillymo Games on Twitter and yeah, check out our games if you want to.
All right, I'll post their links in the description. Cory?
You guys want to say your Twitters or something? Wayne and Anthony?
Do you want to just link it in the description? Because it's easier than trying to pronounce it and people trying to...
Wanyodos, is that it? How do you say it?
Wanyodos.
Yeah, Wanyodos, whatever.
Get ready.
Yeah, hang on, get ready. You can find me Bandcamp and Twitter and all the socials. Really, nobody uses that handle, thankfully. So if you're looking for me and I'm there, that's what you're looking for.
Check out Neon Deity as well for Junk Puncher.
Okay. Yeah.
LillyoGames.com is our URL.
Yeah, I'll link whatever you guys send me in Discord in the description so people can check that out. And my stuff will be down there too. And I guess that's pretty much it. So, and then we'll put Cory's stuff down there too. I think I actually forgot to put his stuff in the last video.
Uh-oh.
That's okay.
Yeah, if you guys, anyone listening has any comments, suggestions for future interviews, did you like the interview? Hopefully you did. And with that being said, everybody have a good night, good morning, enjoy your games. Thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Take care.